Hello, and welcome to DarkTrailz, the place where you are guided into mesmerizing stories designed to help you unwind and drift into sleep. Tonight, we journey with you into a world where dreams are more than dreams, where each slumber becomes a doorway, and your pillow, well, let us just say it is hiding more than stuffing. You are lying there, in your bed, blanket pulled to your chin, eyes stubbornly open as the clock ticks. Maybe it has been one of those days. Too many thoughts, too much screen time, or maybe your pillow just is not working its usual sleepy magic. You flip it over to the cool side with a sigh. But tonight, something's different. A soft hum fills your ears as your hand sinks a little too deeply into the fluff. The air gets lighter, warmer. You blink, and you are not in your room anymore. You are standing under the most enormous sky you have ever seen. The stars look closer here. A warm wind brushes past your cheeks, carrying the scent of honey and dust. You look down and realize you are barefoot on golden sand. And rising in the distance, taller than you imagined, are the pyramids of Egypt. No biggie. You have just landed smack in the middle of 3.000 BC. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Feel free to drop your location and local time in the comments too. I love knowing where our bedtime travelers are listening from. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let us ease into tonight's journey together. You start walking, your toes sinking slightly into the sand with each step. It is not hot. Not yet, but you sense the sun creeping up behind you. Something buzzes near your ear and you sweat instinctively, realizing the fly might be older than your entire history textbook. You feel it before you see it. The pillow warms slightly under your cheek. Not unpleasant, more like the cozy heat of sunlight on a late spring afternoon. You keep your eyes closed, but the air has changed. It smells less like laundry detergent and more like olive oil and something roasted. You open your eyes. You are standing barefoot again, but this time on marble. Smooth, cool, shiny enough that you catch your reflection. Hair tousled, pajama top somehow replaced with a loose tunic tied with a rope. Great. You look like you are about to recite poetry or win a javelin throw. You are in ancient Greece. Ahead, there is a vast open stadium carved into the hillside, packed with people shouting and waving palm fronds. You hear your name, or something that sounds like your name, being chanted. Not ominous at all. A muscular man with a laurel crown jogs up in hands. You a long spear. You are up next in the javelin throw. Hero, he bellows. The gods favor you today. You glance down at the javelin. It is longer than you, and surprisingly splintery. You try to protest, but he is already jogged away, flexing gratuitously. The crowd parts and ushers you into the sun. The stadium roars. You suddenly remember that historians still argue whether children were allowed to compete in the ancient Olympics. You figure they did not have pillow-powered time travel either. You squint at the field. It is huge. A line of statues watches silently from the sidelines. Zeus, Hera, probably someone who invented yogurt. The crowd hushes. You take a deep breath, run a few awkward steps, and toss the javelin with all your might. It soars, and so does a pigeon that was not watching where it was flying. A gasp, a squawk, and then thunderous applause. Apparently, that pigeon was a known rascal. You have just become a hero of the games, and a defender of snacks everywhere. A small boy runs up to you, eyes wide. That was amazing. You must be blessed by Athena, he says, then offers you a figure. Did you know they used to crown winners with wild celery before switching to laurel? You chew thoughtfully. Celery's not very flattering. Nope, he agrees. Makes you stretch, still half asleep, expecting the familiar softness of your blanket. But instead, your hand brushes over something cold. Rough, hard as, wait, is that stone? You blink. The mist hugs you like a damp scarf. It swirls lazily over a narrow path carved into a cliffside, bordered by ancient bricks that climb higher than your neck can crane. And there it is, the Great Wall of China, rising and stretching across mountaintops like a sleeping dragon's spine. The wall is silent. For now, you are dressed in a thick cotton robe tied with a sash, a little too long for your legs. It smells of rice and old stories. A woven cap rests crooked on your head. You adjust it. A scroll pokes out of your pocket. Curious. Your pillow is nowhere in sight. Typical. You start walking, sandals scraping on the stone. The silence is comforting, until it is not. Lost traveler. A voice calls behind you. You spin around. A guard in bronze armor leans lazily against the wall, sipping from a cup of tea. Steam curls like a lazy dragon from the rim. He eyes you, then your shoes. Those are not standard issue, he says, smirking. But neither is that scroll. He nods toward your pocket. You pull it out and carefully unfurl the parchment. It is covered in ancient characters, and an oddly accurate drawing of you, holding a teacup, with the word run scribbled in the corner. You both stare at it. Well, the guard says, guess it is lucky I like riddles. You follow him along the wall, mist rolling past your ankles like waves. He tells you stories of battles fought, lanterns floated, and dumplings made with too much ginger. You reach a watchtower where other guards sit around a fire, warming their hands and roasting sweet potatoes. Did you know? One says, handing you a slice. The mortar between these stones was mixed with sticky rice, stronger than cement. You chew slowly, sweet, a little smoky. History tastes good. The guard from earlier shows you a corner of the tower where an ancient stone puzzle rests. 9 interlocking pieces shaped like clouds. A message from the emperor. He whispers, we have been trying to solve it for 100 years. You kneel beside it. It looks suspiciously like a tangram puzzle you once rage quit during math class. Still, you rearrange the clouds. Click. A panel slides open in the stone wall, revealing a small room lit by fireflies. Inside is a silk pillow. Your pillow, embroidered with a dragon chasing its tail. You turn to thank the guards, but the tower is empty, silent again, mist curling in with the calm of a sleeping forest. You lie down. The fireflies circle above like tiny lanterns. One hovers close to your nose, its light pulsing softly. Your eyes close. The pillow hums. Then, new air, thicker, warmer. You smell rosemary and grilled meat. And you are about to meet a centurion with an opinion about sandals. The scent hits you first. Garlic, olive oil, something roasting. You open your eyes and immediately squint, because the sun above you is brilliant, too bright, too golden. You raise a hand to block it and realize you are lying on cobblestones. Not exactly memory foam. You sit up. Around you, life bustles like a shaken snow globe, shouting vendors, barking dogs, hooves clattering, wheels creaking. You are smack in the middle of ancient Rome. Well, at least your sandals match this time. You stand and turn just in time to dodge. Cart full of olives. The driver curses in Latin. Probably. It sounds musical, though. You are not offended. The street stretches out in both directions. Red-tiled roofs, marble statues, grapes being sold by a woman with the strongest eyebrows you have ever seen. A man is sketching one of the statues, muttering about noses being too unrealistically perfect. You think about chiming in but decide against it. Art criticism is timeless. You follow the smell of roasted meat until it leads you to a crowded forum. People are debating something loudly and gesturing wildly with their hands. You try to sneak past but bump into a short man in a toga with mustard stains. Child, are you here for the chariot race? He asks. You blink. Yes. He claps your back. Excellent. We are short one announcer. Wait, what? Before you can protest, You are led to a tall platform overlooking a stadium packed with Romans munching on bread and cheering. A trumpet blares, for chariots line up below. Horses snort, dust swirls. Someone hands you a scroll. Just read the names. They whisper. You open it. The names are suspiciously modern. Chadicus Maximus, Brittany of the Spears, Dugulus the Mild. You clear your throat. Welcome, citizens. Prepare for the great dust-off of champions. The crowd roars. You read the rest in your best dramatic voice, and just as the race begins, with a twisty-turny left that nearly knocks Dugulus off his cart, you feel a tug on your sleeve. It is a boy your age, holding a scroll of his own. "Want to see something cool?" he asks. You follow him through winding alleys to a quieter part of the city. He pulls aside a tapestry covering a small doorway. Inside is a strange contraption: gears, pulleys, a water basin, and a spinning bronze disc. "My dad's working on a timekeeper," he says proudly. "Sundials are so last century." You lean closer, watching the gears tick. "Is this Da Vinci?" The boy shrugs. "No idea who that is." Sounds Greek. Historians still argue whether mechanical clocks were independently invented across cultures. But you are more focused on the shiny copper pillow-shaped object sitting beside the gears. Your pillow. It is not fluffy. It is metal. But as you touch it, pulses with warmth. You lie down. The gears click. The water swirls. The boy waves. And then, you are floating. No, riding. Waves. Cold spray. Thunder. The smell of salt and pine. And a shout in the distance. Oars steady. We sail for glory. You are aboard a Viking ship. The wood beneath you creaks. It is not the gentle creak of your bed at home, but the deep, rolling groan of a longboat battling the open sea. You open your eyes, and a cold gust of wind slaps your face like an overenthusiastic handshake. Welcome to the north. You sit up quickly, too quickly, and nearly tumble into a barrel of salted fish. A burly man with a braided beard chuckles, thumping you on the back hard enough to realign your spine. "First time on a dracker," he says, handing you what appears to be a damp, fur-lined cloak. "Don't worry, you will earn your sea legs before we reach the fjord." You pull the cloak over your shoulders. It smells like adventure and possibly smoked reindeer. Looking around, you realize you are on a Viking longship slicing through dark, choppy water. Snow-dusted mountains rise in the distance. Ravens circle overhead. The sky is heavy with clouds, but a few rays of sunlight spear through like spotlights from the Norse gods. The crew is busy, some rowing, some sharpening axes, some braiding each other's beards. You do not ask. You spot a boy near the mast, no older than you, scribbling on a piece of driftwood with charcoal. "Is that homework?" you ask. He grins. "Battle plans." You nod like that is a normal answer. He points toward the shore. "See that village? We are going there, but not for raiding this time. It is something else." You arch a brow. "Diplomatic feast," he says, "with stew, and possibly singing." You glance at the crew. One man is using an oar as a pretend guitar. Another is howling into the wind like it owes him money. Sure, sounds peaceful. You reach the village just as the clouds break, revealing low wooden huts with turf roofs and columns carved like dragon heads. Children run alongside the ship, waving. A woman hands you a bowl of stew that smells like heaven's sock drawer. Strange but oddly comforting. You sit by the fire, sipping slowly. The warmth seeps into your fingers. The stew tastes of root vegetables, game meat, and a suspicious amount of cumin. "Did you know?" the boy from earlier says. "We never actually wore horned helmets." You nearly choke. "What?" He nods. "That is just theater stuff. We prefer practicality over flair." Historians still argue whether early Viking ceremonial dress ever included horns, but the consensus leans toward no. Hollywood, as usual, was lying to you. A small dog steals your remaining stew. You stand and wander toward the edge of the village, where a quiet cliff overlooks the fjord. There, tucked between two mossy stones, is something familiar. Pillow. Not just any pillow. Your pillow. It is wrapped in fur, tied with a leather cord, and embroidered with a wolf chasing its tail. You sit. You rest your head. The fire crackles behind you. A voice begins humming a lullaby in Old Norse. The hum of the pillow grows louder. Not unpleasant, just inevitable. The mist rolls back in. The sound of the sea fades, and suddenly, it is humid. You open your eyes to jungle vines and stone, temples, and a parrot that seems to be judging you. Humidity hugs you like a clingy blanket. Thick, damp. You inhale, and the air is rich with the scent of wet earth, ripe fruit, and was that chilly? Definitely chilly. You are lying in a clearing. Giant green leaves arch above you, glistening with dew. A lizard scurries past your hand without apology. Welcome to the jungle. You sit up slowly, brushing moss from your sleeve, and realize you are no longer wearing your Viking cloak. Instead, you are in a colorful tunic with geometric patterns, a belt made of woven reeds, and sandals far too stylish for hiking. Somewhere nearby, a drum beats slowly like a heartbeat. You stand and turn around. Towering behind you is a stone temple, not like the pyramids of Egypt. This one is stepped, reaching into the sky like a staircase for giants. Intricate glyphs are carved into every surface. You squint at one and swear it looks like a llama playing the flute. A voice says, "You have found Temple 12. You whip around. A man with a long feathered headdress and more necklaces than a jewelry store mannequin stands beside you. He smiles. "I am Tikal," he says, "priest of stars, parrot whisperer, amulet collector." A parrot swoops down and lands on his shoulder. "Nice pajamas." Squawks. Tikal winks. He likes you. Historians still argue. He continues, leading you up the stone steps, about how exactly we predicted eclipses so precisely. But the stars, child, the stars tell everything. You reach a platform with a wide stone disc embedded in the center. Symbols circle the edge, and in the middle lies a golden dial shaped like the sun. Tikal gestures dramatically. "This is our calendar. Tells us when to plant, when to harvest, and when to nap." You squint. Is there a nap glyph? He points to a symbol resembling a curled-up snake. Obviously. You spend the next hour decoding glyphs while the parrot offers loud, unsolicited commentary. "Wrong." It shouts every time you guess, even when you are right, especially when you are right. Eventually, you align 4 symbols in a row. Sunday rain, maize, and turtle, and the dial clicks. The stone beneath you shifts. A hidden compartment opens, revealing a stone mask and your pillow. It has been redesigned again, this time wrapped in woven vines, with tiny obsidian beads dangling from the corners like sleepy raindrops. The jungle quiets. The air thickens. Tikal bows low. "May your next sleep be cooler than this one." The parrot squawks. "Tell the samurai he still owes me lunch." You lie down. The pillow's hum rises beneath you, steady and warm. The vines sway gently above like a lullaby in plant form. Then the jungle fades. You smell ink, rice, and cherry blossoms. When your eyes open, the world is pink, and someone is yelling about frogs. Petals drift past your nose. You blink. Everything is bathed in soft pink. You are standing beneath a canopy of cherry blossoms, their delicate blooms fluttering through the air like shy confetti. The breeze carries a faint perfume, sweet, floral, fleeting. A curved bridge stretches over a koi pond below. The water reflects everything upside down. Trees, temple roofs, and you, dressed in a flowing indigo kimono. There is a folded paper fan tucked in your sleeve. Classy. A temple bell tolls in the distance. It is morning, or evening. Time feels gentle here, You turn and immediately duck as a wooden sandal flies past your head, followed by a scream. Frug. A man in full samurai armor sprints past, leaping over a stone lantern with surprising grace. He skids to a halt behind a tree and peers out cautiously. Did you see it? He whispers. It was huge, possibly venomous, maybe magical. You tilt your head. It was a frog. He nods solemnly. Exactly. They are plotting something. You suppress a laugh. He straightens, regaining composure. Forgive me. I am Riku, warrior, poet, frog avoider. You bow politely. Time traveler, pillow collector. He does not blink. Ah, you must be here for the dragon scroll. You have heard weirder things tonight. He leads you through a serene garden where tiny bamboo fountains clack rhythmically. Along the path, elderly monks rake gravel into spirals. One raises an eyebrow at Riku and holds up a frog-shaped rice cracker. Rika hisses and hides behind you. Historians still argue whether samurai truly feared amphibians. You mutter. You follow Riku into the temple. Inside, golden lanterns cast shadows that dance like ghosts. A scroll lies open on a lacquered table. Its ink still wet, drawn on it. A dragon curling around a small rectangular object that looks suspiciously pillow-like. It is a map, Riku says. To the dream gate. You trace the lines with your finger. The dragon's tail ends in a sakura blossom. Outside, the breeze picks up. Riku hands you a bento box. In case you get hungry, dreams can be long. You open the box. Neatly cut sushi, a hard-boiled egg shaped like a cat, and a tiny note. Be kind to frogs. You head toward the sakura tree at the far end of the garden. Beneath it sits a low wooden bench, and on the bench, your pillow. It is now stitched with crimson silk. A subtle dragon swirling across the fabric. Its mouth gently exhaling cherry blossoms. You lie down. Riku bows. The frog from earlier hops onto your chest. Croaks once, then vanishes into thin air. You close your eyes. The lanterns dim. The wind whispers. And your pillow hums, low and melodic. When you open your eyes again, it is night, and you are floating through water. A masked figure in a gondola hums softly. You have arrived in Venice. Water laps softly at the sides of the gondola, each ripple catching the moonlight like a secret being passed along. You sit beneath a velvet sky, the city around you glowing with golden lanterns and shadows that flicker like candle flames. You are in Venice, not tourist-filled Venice, not selfie-stick Venice. This is the Venice of whispers and masks, of winding canals and secret glances beneath arched stone bridges. You glance down. You are wearing a dark cloak lined with satin, a mask covering the top half of your face. Your hands rest in your lap, clutching an envelope sealed with wax. You have no memory of receiving it. The gondolier at the back of the boat hums. You can't see their face. Their long, gloved fingers grip the oar, steering you effortlessly through the labyrinth of water. A black cat sits at the front of the gondola, watching you with one eye closed. As you glide beneath a bridge, you hear soft violin music drifting through the air, then laughter, then pigeons. So many pigeons. Welcome to the masquerade. The gondolier says softly, but beware the man with too many feathers. He cheats at cards. Sure, why not? You arrive at a small dock lined with glowing orbs that float just inches above the ground. They bob gently as you step out. A grand palazzo towers before you, its balconies dripping with ivy and candlelight. Laughter echoes from inside. You push open the carved doors and step into a sea of swirling masks, flowing gowns, and powdered wigs. A waiter hands you a cup of something bubbling slightly. Tastes like stars, he says. You take a sip. It does. A masked woman in a crimson dress grabs your hand. Dance with me before the pigeons arrive. You hesitate. Sorry. What pigeons? Too late. A flurry of wings descends from above. 100 pigeons in miniature capes. One is wearing a monocle. Another appears to be carrying a scroll in its beak. They settle on banisters and statues. The music swells. You dance, spinning, laughing, until a familiar squawk draws your attention. Perched on the chandelier is the same parrot from the jungle. Nice moves. Noodle legs. It shouts. You blink. You again. It drops the scroll. You catch it. Unroll it. It reads. The gears are ready. He is waiting. Follow the ticking. You glance around. Somewhere behind the velvet curtains, you hear a faint click. Click. Whir. You slip away from the dancing crowd and follow the sound. Down a hallway, past marble busts, through a hidden door behind a bookshelf. The air turns cooler. Mechanical. A cluttered workshop opens before you. Sketches cover every surface. Wings, water pumps, diving suits, machines shaped like birds and people and dreams. A man with wild gray hair and ink-stained fingers is hunched over a table, sketching. He looks up. Finally, he says, I have been waiting for the pillow. He gestures to a corner, where your pillow sits, half-stuffed, half-mechanical, with gears ticking inside and a feather sticking out the top. You have already been to Egypt. Yes. And the wall, and Kyoto. He asks, not waiting for answers. I put an extra spring in it this time. Might take you farther. He wins something with a tiny key, pats the pillow gently, and nods. You lie down. The workshop smells of parchment and oil and invention. As your eyes close, you hear the man mutter. Historians still argue whether I ever actually finished anything. The pillow hums. You feel altitude. You are climbing. And then, high in the mountains, amid wind and silence, a llama grins at you. Naturally, the wind is thinner here, colder. It hums in your ears like a flute played badly by the clouds. You sit up and find yourself perched on a mountain ledge. The air crisp enough to make your nose wrinkle. Snow glistens on distant peaks, while below you, green terraces curve around the cliffs like ribbons on a sleeping giant. You are in the Andes. Your outfit has changed again. Thick woven poncho, colorful hat with ear flaps, and a belt with a pouch shaped suspiciously like a guinea pig. You check it. It squeaks. In the distance, stone walls rise from the earth in impossibly straight lines, staircases carved directly into cliffs, and windows shaped like trapezoids. A city floats in the clouds. Machu Picchu. You hear hooves behind you. A llama trots into view. It is wearing a necklace. You stare. It stares back. Finally, it says, you are late. The llama talks. You try to process this, but the llama is already walking. Follow me, it says, tail swishing with attitude. There is a riddle in the sun chamber. Only someone mildly confused and recently woken can solve it. You fit the description. As you climb the stone path, the wind smells of corn, damp rock, and roasted peanuts. You pass people tending quinoa fields, painting murals, and chewing coca leaves while arguing about the stars. Historians still argue whether Machu Picchu was a royal estate or a spiritual retreat. The llama says casually, I think it was a really big picnic spot. You nod. That tracks. The sun chamber is round, made of smooth stone blocks fitted so tightly together you could not slide a parrot feather between them. A golden disc stands at the center, reflecting sunlight through a series of tiny holes in the wall. The light hits a panel on the floor. Speak the answer. The llama instructs, and the gate opens. You glance at the inscription. What walks on sun, sleeps on stone, but always carries the sky. You pause. A mountain. The panel clicks. The llama grins. Or a time traveler, but close enough. A hatch opens. Inside, an alcove filled with feathers, crystals, and dried mango slices, nestled in the center. Your pillow. It is now woven from alpaca wool, soft and slightly sparkly. There is a tiny sun stitched into the corner. Wearing sunglasses, you lie down. The llama leans in. When you get to London, tell Big Ben I said hi. Wait, London. But it is too late. The pillow hums. Stone becomes stage. Lights flare. Someone yells. Places. You are backstage at a theater. And you are holding a skull. There is chalk dust in the air. And stage light in your eyes. You blink. Velvet curtains tower in front of you. Behind, actors rush about in tights, doublets, and the kind of ruffled collars that look like a failed pastry experiment. A director in a floppy hat points frantically at you while chewing a quill. You, Hamlet, you are on in 3 lines. You glance down. You are holding a prop skull. The audience murmurs beyond the curtain. You are in Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. You also appear to be playing the melancholy Prince of Denmark. In socks, a flurry of trumpets. The curtain parts. You shuffle forward, blinking into torchlight. An actor beside you whispers, "Just look sad and hold the skull." Everyone loves a bit of brooding. You strike your best thoughtful pose. Alas, poor Yorick. You begin, and then sneeze. Pause. The audience erupts in laughter and applause. The director faints behind the curtain. After the scene, you slink off stage and hand the skull to a man scribbling furiously in the corner. He glances up. He has a beard. His collar is enormous. His eyes sparkle with mischief. "Brilliant," he says. "Keep the skull. I have 5. You realize with a jolt. It is William Shakespeare. Did you know? He continues casually. I once wrote a whole play just because I liked the word 12. You blink. Historians still argue. He adds, whether I actually wrote everything myself. But honestly, can you blame them? My handwriting's terrible. He laughs and offers you a piece of bread shaped like a pigeon. Brunch, he says. Just invented it. You follow him to a courtyard behind the theater, where a troupe of actors and poets are sharing stories, passing around baskets of strange pastries, and arguing over whether ghosts should get monologues. A boy juggles oranges beside a barrel-marked property of Queen E. Another is rehearsing a death scene involving 17 dramatic gasps. And there, resting on a wooden bench beneath a tree carved with hearts and sonnets, your pillow. This version is covered in parchment-like fabric, quilled signatures scribbled into the seams. A small, embroidered skull winks up at you. You lie down. A tambourine jingles softly. Someone starts humming a lullaby written in iambic pentameter. The world dims. You smell salt again. But this time, the air is colder. The trees are gone. And nearby, someone is shouting about witches. You wake to the smell of damp earth and something smoky. Your back is pressed against a wooden bench. Creaks as you sit up. Trees loom above you, tall, gnarled, suspiciously creaky themselves. The air is thick with tension, like it is holding its breath. You are in a forest clearing. A cluster of half-timbered houses squats nearby, their chimneys puffing timid ribbons of smoke into the overcast sky. The rooftops look like hats worn too many times. A crow caws once, and you hear it echo off the trees. A dog howls, then silence. A signpost at the edge of the path reads, Salem Village, 1692. Ah, you look down. You are wearing woolen stockings, plain apron, and boots that seem allergic to comfort. A bonnet is tied to your head. Your hands are slightly dusty, and tucked into your apron is a half-eaten apple. In the distance, a bell tolls. You make your way into the village. People hurry past with their heads down. Whispers chase you through the cobbled streets. You pass a group of children playing a game called Hang the Spectre. Dark. They pause to stare. One girl points at your shoes. Those are not local, she says. You keep walking. At the town square, a crowd gathers. A man in a wide-brimmed hat yells about suspicious behaviors. His list includes sneezing on Sundays, reading by candlelight, and possessing an unusual pillow. Oh, you slip behind a barn. There is a rustling sound. A girl, maybe 12, kneels beside a chicken. She is whispering to it like it is royalty. Name's Mercy. she says, spotting you. Don't worry. I won't rat you out unless you curse my soup. Deal. You reply. She squints. You smell like Shakespeare and soup. Did you dream too hard? You nod. She nods back. Happens. She pulls something from under the hay. A spoon. It floats. You both stare. I did not mean to do that. She whispers. You glance around. Historians still argue. You say slowly, whether any real magic was involved. Most likely, fear, and fungus, also frogs. She adds, I just do not trust them. You offer her your apple slice. She offers you a hideout in her attic. That night, you lie on straw, surrounded by jars of herbs, carved charms, and a portrait of a duck in a bonnet. There, hidden beneath an old quilt, is your pillow. This one is plain, scratchy, a little singed, but it hums all the same. You rest your head. The attic fades. The smoke drifts away. The next thing you know, your nose is tickled by something buttery. A man is shouting in French. You have landed in Versailles, and breakfast is wearing a wig. You are surrounded by gold. Not treasure chest gold. Not pirate map gold. This is the soft, syrupy gold of morning sunlight slanting through stained glass windows. It spills across marble floors, gilded banisters, and the most aggressively fancy chairs you have ever seen. You are inside the Palace of Versailles. At least, you think so. You are also dressed like a cream puff. Your outfit consists of pastel silk, a powdered wig the size of a sofa cushion, and shoes with buckles that jingle when you walk. A lace ruffle itches your chin. You look like you were designed by a pastry chef during a sugar rush. A servant glides past carrying a tray of croissants stacked like a sculpture. He bows, hands you one, and whispers, beware the jam duel at noon. You nod solemnly. Of course, the jam duel. Music drifts from somewhere. Harpsichord, soft laughter, maybe someone fencing with baguettes. You stroll down a hallway lined with mirrors and chandeliers and a suspicious number of tiny dogs in shoes. You step into a grand ballroom just as someone bellows, let them eat toast. A hush. All eyes turn to you. You freeze. Croissant halfway to your mouth. A woman with a beehive hairdo approaches. Her dress requires its own zip code. You are late, she says, tapping her fan. We need a tiebreaker. Strawberry or apricot. You blink. She gasps. Brunch, darling. The duel. Honestly, are you from the countryside? You mutter something about time zones. The crowd murmurs. Pigeon lands on a piano. I say, squawks. He looks like the mustard spy. Someone screams. You run. You sprint past salons and sculptures, down velvet-lined staircases, through a room full of wigs being powdered by what might be powdered wigs. You hide behind a statue of a weeping cherub, breathing heavily. Historians still argue. A voice says beside you, whether Versailles truly had over 2,000 rooms or if that number included closets. You glance over. A boy your age in breeches is sketching the corridor. I counted 412 yesterday, he adds, but I may have been chased by a cat wearing pearls. You sit beside him. He grins. Want to see my secret garden? You follow him through a side door, past ivy-covered walls, into a quiet corner of the grounds. There is a fountain shaped like a duck holding a harp. Flowers bloom in symmetrical defiance of logic. In the middle of the garden sits a bench made of marble, and on it, your pillow. This one's plush and embroidered with gold thread. There is a tiny powdered wig stitched into the corner. It smells faintly of butter. You lie down, exhaling. Somewhere behind you, a carriage rolls by with a chandelier hanging from its roof. The pillow hums. The garden melts into shadow. When your eyes open, the air feels heavy. Urgent. And someone is whispering. The British are coming. You are in the middle of a revolution. Again, crisp night. Cool grass beneath your fingers. A lantern swinging gently from a post. You blink, and Boston stares back at you. Not today's Boston, but the Boston of boots and breeches, of cobblestone alleys and whispers in the dark. Crickets sing, dogs bark in the distance, and somewhere nearby, someone is nailing up something important. You sit up. You are wearing a waistcoat, breeches, and a tricorn hat slightly too large. A rolled-up parchment sticks out of your pocket. Your hands smell faintly of ink. From far off, a voice yells, "To arms!" followed by the thunder of hooves. Paul Revere. You peek out from behind a stack of barrels near a quiet tavern. Men are gathered at a long wooden table inside, arguing in hushed tones. One of them waves his arms dramatically, causing a candle to tip over and ignite a small feather. Nobody reacts. You creep closer. Taxes on tea, coats too red. We need a new flag, maybe with stars. You lean on the window and knock over a broom. The room freezes. One of the men, a thin fellow with glasses and serious eyebrows, stands and opens the door. You freeze. Ignore the hat. You blurt, "I am here for the coat rack." He blinks. Brilliant. And just like that, you are whisked inside and positioned firmly near the corner. "Hold this," someone says, and drapes a coat over your arms. You stand very still. Turns out, you are now the unofficial eavesdropper for a group of revolutionaries. As they argue, you catch snippets of what will one day be famous speeches, scrawled drafts of declarations, and a debate over whether eagles or raccoons make better national mascots. One vote for raccoons was surprisingly passionate. Later, as they shuffle out into the night, one man pats your shoulder. "Thanks for holding the coat." And the silence. He hands you a warm biscuit wrapped in paper. It reads, "For courage." You step outside. The street is quiet. A cat eyes you from a rooftop. Then, clang. A bell rings from the harbor. A ship glides through the water. Silent and ghost-like. Figures aboard dump crates into the sea. Tea. Lots of tea. You reach the dock and notice something bobbing near the edge. A wooden crate marked with a strange symbol. A pillow wearing a crown. Inside. Your pillow. This version is simple. Colonial. But soft. It smells of biscuit crumbs and ink. You lie down on the crate. The water laps gently beneath you. Historians still argue. You murmur whether the Boston Tea Party really involved disguises, or just excellent hats. The stars blur above you. The pillow thrums. When you open your eyes, it is foggy. You are standing on a cobbled street again, but the air smells like soot and tea, and someone's shouting about a runaway kettle. The fog is thick. London thick. You can barely see your own feet as they shuffle along the damp cobblestones. Lanterns flicker behind smudged windows, casting long, nervous shadows onto the street. Somewhere nearby, a horse snorts, a bell chimes, a teacup shatters. Welcome to Victorian London. Your clothes are heavier now. Long wool coat, boots that squish when you walk, and a cap pulled snugly over your ears. Your hands are smudged with soot. Your pocket holds a single biscuit and a note that reads, "Find the kettle. Save the street." You take a step. Steam curls around the corner like a curious ghost. You follow it. A woman in a ruffled bonnet hurries past, muttering, "Not again. Third kettle this week." You pass a newsstand. The headline reads, "Mildly explosive teapot causes midnight mayhem." Page 3. Crumpet crisis deepens. You round a corner and find a commotion outside a tiny tea room called the Steamy Scone. A small crowd gathers around a broken window. Inside, a large copper kettle rolls in circles, whistling angrily. "I told you not to use dragon spice." Someone yells. Historians still argue, says an elderly man calmly stirring his tea on the curb. Whether the British truly believed tea could cure fog. Personally, I say yes. You sidestep a child chasing a scone and step into the shop. A tall man in a trench coat and deerstalker hat is poking the kettle with a spoon. It is Sherlock Holmes. "You are late," he says, without looking. Also, Your pillow is leaking steam. You glance down. Sure enough, there it is, tucked behind the counter, half covered in biscuit crumbs and emitting gentle puffs of mist from the seams. This pillow looks quilted from London fog itself. Gray, soft, and slightly over-caffeinated. Holmes tosses you a wrench. Tighten the dream valve. You do. The kettle calms. The fog lifts slightly. A woman claps. Someone hands you a medal shaped like a teacup. Outside, the city breathes. You walk past bakeries and gas lamps. The pillow warm under your arm. Cab horse whinnies at you. You nod back. At a quiet corner, you find a bench beside a bookshop. You sit. Place the pillow behind your head. It hums. The air grows dry, warmer. Dust swirls past your nose. You are no longer in London. You are in the desert, and a library waits for you beneath the sand. The wind shifts, dry, whispery, granular. You open your eyes and blink against golden sunlight that pours like warm tea across a landscape made of sand and sky. The dunes stretch endlessly, curling like ocean waves frozen mid-sigh. Your mouth is dry, your shoes are full of dust, and your eyebrows are now at least 40% sand. Welcome to Timbuktu, or rather, just outside it. You stand up slowly. The sun glints off the surface of something half buried nearby. You brush sand away with your sleeve and uncover a small plaque, etched in 3 languages. It reads, "Knowledge is the treasure of time." And beneath it, footprints, camel-shaped ones. You follow. Not long after, a camel crests a nearby dune with the grace of a sleepy parade float. Atop it rides a young girl with sun-wrinkled eyes and a scroll tucked beneath her arm. "You are late," she says, squinting down at you. You are the 3rd person to say that. You mutter. She smiles. Then it is true. She leans over and offers you a hand. You grab it. The camel kneels. You climb aboard. She introduces herself as Amina, apprentice to the guardians of the ancient library of Timbuktu. You try not to think about how high off the ground you are, or how the camel just winked. As you ride toward the city, she tells you stories of manuscripts hidden in mud brick houses, of alphabets older than stone, of recipes for preserving wisdom with salt and oil. You pass traders selling spices, children chasing goats, and elders writing verses under acacia trees. Historians still argue. Amina says, about how many books were once stored here. Some say 700,000, others say infinity. You believe both. The library itself is tucked between 2 narrow alleys, barely marked, as if trying to hide from time. Inside, the air is cool and heavy with ink and parchment. Shelves sag under the weight of knowledge. Dust motes drift like sleepy thoughts. She leads you to a room with a circular window cut high into the wall. Beneath it sits a low table. On it rests a book. And beside the book, your pillow. This version is stitched with script in a dozen forgotten alphabets. The seams bound with thread that glints like sand-polished glass. You run your fingers across the letters. They feel warm. You lie down. Amina closes the door gently behind her. The sounds of the city fade to the scratch of quills and the rustle of pages. The pillow hums. Your breath slows. And then, music. Bright, jazzy. Boots tap on pavement. You open your eyes to neon lights. And candy flying through the air. Snap, clap. A trumpet squeals with joy. You are in the middle of a street party. The night, in Harlem. In the 1920s, the ground thumps under your feet. Bass notes and tap shoes keeping time like a heartbeat. The buildings rise on either side of you. Brick and fire escapes glowing under the neon hum of signs. Cotton Club, Sugar Lounge, Dizzy's Soda Depot. You are dressed in pinstripes. No, not pajamas. You are in a sleek vest, shiny shoes, and a hat so sharp it could slice toast. A candy-striped tie swings as you move, which you definitely are, because the rhythm in the air is not something a person can ignore. A woman in a feathered headband grabs your hand. Come on, Sweetheart, if you are gonna stand in Harlem on a Friday night, at least dance like you mean it. And you do. You spin through a cloud of perfume and powdered sugar. A kid throws jelly beans in the air. A jazz band explodes into life on the corner. And a saxophone note flutters around you like a mischievous butterfly. Name's Ray, says the sax player between breaths. I have seen you in a dream before. You raise an eyebrow. Don't worry, he says. I only dream in brass. He points to a storefront across the street. Madame Wanda's record pillow shop. Of course. Inside, the walls are lined with vinyl records, sheet music, and something called Snore Swing, a sleepy time jazz album. Madame Wanda herself is behind the counter, wearing gold glasses and chewing bubblegum. About time you got here, she says. Your pillow's been humming all evening. She hands it to you. It is wrapped in purple velvet, stitched with treble clefs and musical notes that rearrange themselves when no one's looking. Before you can lie down, she adds, did you know historians still argue whether jelly beans were originally medicinal? Personally, I think they are soul food. You nod. She snaps her fingers once, and the world slows. Music fades to heartbeat tempo. The pillow thrums like a bass line in your chest. You lie down in a window nook as the city sways around you. Lights blur. Laughter melts into lullaby. Your eyes close, and suddenly, everything feels like weightless. There is a rumble, a countdown, and someone whispers, we choose to go to the moon. 5, 4, 3. You jolt awake just as the rocket roars. You are lying in a hammock, swaying gently, but this is not a porch in the countryside. The floor vibrates, the walls rattle. Outside the window, stars, real ones. You are aboard a spacecraft. Patch on your arm reads, Apollo 11, Experimental Support Unit. Below that, handwritten in marker, Pillow Division. Of course, you sit up. The cabin glows with switches and dials, each blinking like nervous fireflies. A tinny voice crackles over the intercom. Commander to lower deck. We are go for orbit. And someone tell the kid to stop rearranging the freeze-dried pudding packets. You glance down. Oops. Buzz Aldrin floats past, clutching a wrench and humming Fly Me to the Moon. He pauses mid-hum. Don't touch the pudding controls again, he says, then floats on. You pull yourself toward the window. Earth glows below like a blue marble dipped in sunlight. The moon looms ahead, a powdery pearl in the dark velvet of space. A voice beside you says, first time off planet. You turn. A teenage engineer with glasses too big for his face is sketching lunar craters on a napkin. I snuck aboard. Don't tell NASA. I left a note. Historians still argue, he adds, whether the moon landing footage was enhanced or not. But I have always said, if you need a green screen, you are not dreaming hard enough. He points toward a storage locker labeled, Miscellaneous, Wonders. Your pillow's in there. Came aboard by accident. Or destiny. Same thing in zero gravity. You open the locker. Inside, Tang packets, moon boots, a disco ball do not ask, and your pillow, now wrapped in silver foil, soft as cloud, etched with constellations that shift when you blink. You lie back. The cabin dims. Your breath echoes gently. Your body feels like it is floating. And for once, it is. Buzz passes again, tossing you a bag of space peanuts. Try not to roll off the moon. The pillow hums. Time bends. The sky outside changes. You are falling. But softly, you land on something warm. It is grass. Familiar. Earthly. You are home. Maybe, you are back on solid ground. Well, mostly solid. The grass beneath you is soft, slightly overgrown, sun-warmed and sweet-smelling, like a lawn that has not been mowed because it is too polite to interrupt. The bees. You sit up and blink against the golden haze of morning. You are in a field. A scarecrow waves lazily in the distance. Birds ignore him, but the silence feels staged. You stand and turn slowly, and there it is. Your house. Not just any house. Your house. The one with the creaky porch. The chipped mailbox. The one tree that looks like it is trying to spell something with its branches. Except, something's off. The flowers out front are blooming in fast forward. The clouds shift backward. The mailbox flag keeps flipping up and down without reason. You walk toward the porch. Each step echoes like it is remembering itself. The door opens, and there you are, another you, sitting at the kitchen table, eating cereal. This version of you looks up, blinks once, then nods. About time, they say. You open your mouth. They beat you to it, or forgetting backward. Depends who you ask. The cereal spoon hovers midair. Historians still argue. They add, whether time travel is linear, layered, or a complicated nap with excellent lighting. You glance around. The kitchen is full of things that do not belong. A Viking helmet, a Shakespeare playbill, a floating teacup, a dancing jelly bean in a bow tie. Your double gestures to the couch. Your pillow sits there, but it is different now. It is stitched from every version you have carried. Silk, straw, parchment, fur, fog, foil. The thread sparkles like stardust. On its surface, a tiny embroidered you, asleep and smiling. You walk over, sit down, look back once. The other you waves, no pressure. But this next one's important. You nod, lie down. The house blurs, the couch dissolves, and you are small again, in a bed. Not your bed, a crib, maybe a nursery. A mobile spins overhead, and the stars hum your name. Softness, stillness, a gentle spinning sound, like lullabies folding in on themselves. You open your eyes to a ceiling painted with stars. Not just dots, tiny constellations, animals, stories. They drift slowly in a quiet rotation above you, suspended from a mobile that looks suspiciously high-tech for a nursery. You are in a crib, a very fancy one. The sheets are embroidered with planets. A rocket-shaped nightlight pulses gently on the dresser nearby. The room glows with that bluish hush only known to nightlights and wishes. Whispered under blankets. You sit up. Your hands are smaller. Your legs swing. The room is filled with soft hums and familiar tunes. Like every lullaby you have ever half remembered. Someone walks in. A woman. Maybe a mother. Or a guardian. She is slightly blurred. Like someone drawn from memory too quickly. She hums without words and places a book on the edge of the crib. The cover says, Pillow Atlas. A journey through dreams. Inside are sketches. All of them. The parrot. The Viking ship. The jelly bean duel. Even the camel in sunglasses. She smiles and whispers. You have nearly reached the last dream. The tone chimes gently. Something folds open behind the bookshelf. A hallway. You climb out of the crib. Do not ask how. Dream physics. And tiptoe through the secret door. The hallway is long, lined with mirrors. Each one reflects a version of you. In samurai robes, astronaut boots, colonial vests, Shakespearean tights unfortunate. They all smile, all wink, all nod like they know what comes next. At the end of the hallway is a door. You push it open. A platform floats in space. Stars stretch forever in every direction. And at the center is a dome. Inside the dome, your pillow. It hovers slightly above a circular bed. This version is glowing faintly, stitched with every place you have been, every scent you have breathed, every laugh that shook your chest like thunder. You lie down. The stars pulse softly. Historians still argue. A distant voice whispers, whether dreams are rehearsals for life, or the memory of somewhere we have already been. You close your eyes, and your pillow carries you one final time. Home. The pillow is quiet now, not because it is run out of dreams, but because it knows you are ready. You lie there, weightless but grounded, suspended in the hush between stars. There is no hum this time, no swirling fog, just breath. Yours. Slow, deep, steady. The kind of breath that only happens when everything in the universe exhales with you. The constellations above do not twinkle. They glow, steady, warm, soft as a grandmother's whisper. They arrange themselves without urgency, folding into shapes you recognize. Faces, places, feelings, not memories, not yet, but something like them. The pillow shifts beneath your head, not physically, but in spirit. The stitching relaxes, the thread unwinds gently, like a story ending just before the last word. A soft wind drifts through space, and it smells like everything all at once. Tea and parchment, jungle vines and moon dust, wool cloaks and powdered wigs, sugar and ink and cherry blossoms. You hear laughter in the distance, and flutes, and frogs. One croaks from somewhere cosmic. You smile. Far below, Earth spins slowly, quiet now, like a child finally asleep. You sit up. The dome has faded. The stars are inside you now. You are not wearing pajamas, or armor, or feathers. Just you. Your hand rests on the pillow's corner. There is one last thread of light stitched into the fabric. As you blink, it lifts, curls, and dissolves into the air. You close your eyes once more, not to travel, not to leave, but to rest, to let the story become part of you. The pillow hums once, a whisper of farewell, and this time, you do not go anywhere. You stay, because dreams are not always places we visit. Sometimes, they are places we become. So now, as the stars settle and your pillow cools beneath your cheek, let us let the journey slip gently away. There is nothing left to chase tonight. No riddles to solve, no jelly beans to dodge, no more sneaky llamas with regal attitudes. The worlds you traveled through, folded neatly into the corners of your mind like postcards from dreams that only you remember. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw soften. Breathe in, hold, and release. The night has nothing more to ask of you. Let the weight of your blankets anchor you back to the real, back to your own time, your own body, your own quiet space where clocks tick and tea cools and no one expects you to announce a chariot race. Unless you want to, sleep is here now, not with fireworks, but with the hush of velvet and the distant sigh of memory. Even the pillow knows. This hum has faded to a heartbeat rhythm. Gentle, familiar. You have seen things tonight that can't be explained. And that is exactly the point. Let them stay unspoken. Let the dream melt into rest. And if, just if, you feel that tickle under your ear again, that barely there buzz, that warm shift beneath your head, you will know. The pillow's not done yet. It is just waiting for the next dream.